the station that's on your side. This is News 12, first at 4.
Good afternoon. We're tracking the possibility of rain now into the weekend. Going to give you a live look here at live Doppler Max Radar. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale standing by to tell us what to expect and when.
Well, Richard, most of us have stayed dry so far today. We have been tracking that rain threat, now crossing that I-16 corridor. And a closer look at the viewing area, we're starting to see some showers and even some thunderstorms starting to pop in some of our southeastern counties. Between Waynesboro and Sardis and Byrd County, that storm's starting to develop. And then on eastern Bamberg County, a little tiny storm there as well. So basically what we're watching right now is we have some upper-level energy that's going to be moving through that's going to help initiate some new storm development. You couple that with what we call a gust front. So we have some rain cold air that's going to be moving in that acts as a lifting mechanism and can help generate some new activity. So that's what we've seen over the last, say, 30 to 45 minutes on radar. We're expecting the potential for that to continue as we progress through this evening. So even though we're mostly quiet as we head towards, say, 5, 6, 7, 8 o'clock, that's when those rain chances could become more isolated to scattered. We'll have much more on this forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Riley, thank you for your workers. A controversial new Georgia voting bill making headlines nationwide. Groups all across the country have called for possible boycotts of Georgia-based companies like Coca-Cola, AT&T, and Delta. And now those protests could come to Augusta during a very busy Masters Week. News 12 Cindy Heiberger live for us at the corner of Washington Road and Bergmans Road. Cindy, what exactly are we expecting this weekend?
Well, Richard, faith leaders here say that they plan to protest right at this intersection here. They want corporations like Augusta National and major players to speak out against voter suppression. But as you know, a lot of protests can't happen in Augusta without voting permits from the sheriff's office. So it begs the question, with a major week like Masters in full swing, can they even do this? The Richmond County Sheriff's Office says the group contacted them yesterday to let them know about the protest. The county protest guidelines say they have to file a permit if they plan to be more than 50 people. With Masters in full swing, the department says they can't accommodate a protest that large. So the group agreed to keep it under 50 people, and if more than that show up, they will protest in shifts. Deputies expect the event to be peaceful, but like any event, they say they are on alert.
Our main focus is we believe everybody should always have the right to protest, but we want it to be safe. We have contingencies that we've been planning, and we have contingencies in place in case there are some.
Meanwhile, in Wednesday's chairman's news conference, Augusta National Chairman Fred Ridley says he does support everyone's right to vote and discourages anyone from being disadvantaged from it. But tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're going to tell you why these faith leaders want tomorrow's protest to expand well beyond the Peach State.
Cindy Heiberger live along Washington Road for us this afternoon. Cindy, thanks very much for the update. An off-duty Pentagon police officer now charged with second-degree murder after shooting and killing allegedly 2 people Wednesday morning in Maryland. David Hall Dixon told police he thought the victims were breaking into a car. But attorneys for one of the victims' family says the car belonged to a friend who was with the 2 men at the time of the shooting. Police say Dixon was taken into custody this morning. The victims identified as 32-year-old Dominic Williams, 38-year-old James Johnson. The Georgia Department of Health has decided to pause vaccinations using Johnson & Johnson's vaccine at the fairgrounds in Atlanta after 8 people had some bad reactions to it. One person was taken to a hospital, but they have since been released. The others were treated right there at the vaccination site. DPH says the reactions are common side effects adults normally get with any vaccine, but they decided to stop and be cautious and take a closer look into what happened. A site in North Carolina also deciding to stop the use of the J&J vaccine there after 18 patients there had reactions as well. The CDC looking into cases across a few different states this afternoon, but officials say for now there's still no reason for concern.
There are other products that we've been using for months, but if you look at how long we've been using the Johnson & Johnson product, it's not necessarily as long. So we're still uncertain as to what is normal and what is not normal. But again, we're really very much in its infancy at this time and just trying to evaluate what were the causes for this and is there any reason to be concerned.
The CDC says there is concern for more young people getting more severe cases of COVID right now. Data from the DPH shows cases increased among all age groups under 65. People in their 20s accounting for the biggest jump. But folks in their 30s and 40s are right behind them. And that's the group making the largest increase in hospitalizations. More medical testimony today as the second week of the Derek Chauvin murder trial ends in Minneapolis. How George Floyd died has been the center of today's testimony. As Jay Gray reports, the medical examiner who performed the autopsy took the stand today.
Good afternoon, Dr. Baker.
Good afternoon.
As Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Andrew Baker discusses the autopsy he performed after George Floyd's death, he tells prosecutors he did not watch any video of his confrontation with Derek Chauvin until after he finished the examination.
I did not want to bias my exam by going in with any preconceived notions that might lead me down one pathway or another.
But a former colleague tells the jury those videos are a vital component in determining how Floyd died. And Dr. Lindsay Thomas says after reviewing those images and the medical information, she has no question about the cause of death in this case.
The activities of the law enforcement officers resulted in Mr. Floyd's death.
One of the things that has to be considered in this particular case is Mr. Floyd's heart, right?
Yes.
On cross, Dr. Thomas confirms Floyd had an enlarged heart. The defense pushing her on that condition and continuing to raise questions about Floyd's use of drugs.
And adrenaline speeds up the heart.
Yes.
Methamphetamine speeds up the heart.
It can, yes.
So methamphetamine and adrenaline cause the heart to work harder.
Yes.
And increases the heart's oxygen needs.
Yes.
As he's being tortured to death.
For Floyd's family, 2+ days of discussion about the final minutes of his life have been a struggle.
That right there literally touched all of our souls. We all was in the room, just happened to just look around. We were just stuck, frozen, looking at the TV with a crazy gaze. I just broke.
That test could get even tougher when the defense gets the chance to present its case.
And with the prosecution working a bit faster than expected, the defense could present early next week. A man in Gwinnett County lucky to be alive after getting shot during a football game over the weekend. Russell Duffy was playing with his semi-pro team Saturday night when shots were fired into the crowd right toward the end of the game. Witnesses told police they saw two men shooting from a vehicle while a masked man ran onto the field.
They were able to cut all my pads off and everything and realized that I had been shot in the neck and told me that it couldn't be removed. It was too dangerous and might cause me to bleed out.
Now, investigators have not confirmed a motive, but Duffy believes he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. Now he says he's at the right place, recovering at home with his family. Coming up here, first at 4, the First Lady looking to make life less stressful for military families. How she plans to do that in 60 seconds.
We are tracking some rain on Doppler Max Radar for us through this evening. We'll have a look at those storm chances heading into the weekend next. Because that's for today.
To weather now, as we give you a live look outside, that's the Calhoun Expressway and the Augusta Canal there toward the right of the screen. And Riley, we started off this week with sunny day after sunny day, and this afternoon and yesterday too, cloud cover has really dominated things.
And we've been lucky, Richard. We stayed dry most of the week, kind of dodging those rain chances yesterday for us here in Augusta, and we're doing a good job of dodging that rain so far today. They did update the severe weather outlook for the rest of this evening from the Storm Prediction Center. They did include most of our area underneath this marginal risk and even had a slight risk in some of our southwestern counties. That has been eliminated. Not expecting a huge severe weather threat for the rest of this evening. Just expecting that chance for a few widely scattered to isolated showers and maybe even a few thunderstorms. Let's take a closer look at it. So we've seen a few storms trying to pop as we're seeing this main rain shield starting to work its way into our southern counties. So places like Swainsboro, Millen, you're likely seeing a few raindrops. If you live just north of Sardis along the Savannah River, that's where the heaviest rain is currently. We'll zoom in on that real quick. Not seeing much lightning with this, but just kind of popping up as this rain-cooled air starts to move in. It's helping add a little bit of lift that could help generate more of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms as we progress through this evening. Now, I think this model is overdoing it just a tad, but there will be that opportunity for just some hit-and-miss showers, maybe even a thunderstorm as we progress through this evening. So in Augusta, our rain chance is not technically zero for the rest of today, just not expecting a huge rain threat or severe weather threat for the rest of our Friday. Now here's a look at Saturday. We're still expecting dry conditions Saturday as we head throughout the late afternoon into the early evening. That's when we're expecting our next wave, our next front to be pushing in a line of showers and thunderstorms once again. Now the Storm Prediction Center still does have us underneath a slight or a marginal risk, a low risk for severe weather on Saturday. So just keep that in mind. Some of those storms could produce some strong winds. Heading into Sunday morning, most of your Sunday still does look dry. That's the day we've kind of been monitoring that does look on the drier side for us. And this one particular model does keep us very nice Sunday with actually much drier air moving into the afternoon, actually seeing some sunshine towards the end of the weekend. So if you're heading out to the Augusta National Golf Club tomorrow, we are expecting a dry start Saturday, not expecting those storm chances to really be with us till we head later into the afternoon. We will see those clouds stick with us most of the day again on Saturday. Despite the clouds, though, we should be able to hit the 80s once again tomorrow afternoon. And those early tee times, not a bad start for us, waking up with some clouds and temperatures generally into the mid-60s here inside Augusta tomorrow morning. Here's a look at that severe weather threat for your Saturday. Once again, it is a marginal risk. We're really anticipating the stronger storm threat to stay off towards our west, even an enhanced risk for portions of the Florida Panhandle there. Our threat for storms on Saturday, mainly a few stronger wind gusts and storms that do generate. So watch out for that, especially if you're heading out to the Augusta Canal tomorrow. If you're trying to do anything outside, the earlier you get out there, the better you're going to be. Now, those storm chances do look highest anytime after 2 p.m., most likely later into the evening for us as well. And it's going to be pretty warm again tomorrow. Everybody should be able to get at least close to 80. Some of our northern and western counties could stay into the mid to upper 70s. But for the rest of us, looking like another above average day temperature-wise. So for that weekend rain chance, Saturday still looking like a better opportunity to see a passing storm, mainly afternoon, evening. Sunday does look mostly dry for us. Then early next week, looking good.
Thanks, Riley. First Lady Jill Biden is revamping a military initiative to help families of our nation's heroes. This program is called Joining Forces. It aims to make life for military spouses and their children less stressful. Alex Gibbs found out what it means for soldiers and families over at Fort Hood.
Those are the kinds of things that I think our families really need more than ever because we're a very small and agile force that deploys a lot.
First Lady Dr. Jill Biden isn't just the First Lady. She's a military mother, too. That's why she says she understands the concerns, challenges, and even fears of family members of our armed forces. That's what led her to expand Joining Forces to help with things like job programs for military spouses, additional health care options, and especially child care. Jeffrey Yarvis, an Army veteran with decades of experience in social work, says that's one area made even more stressful for military families.
I think she's speaking to the turbulence that families experience with multiple moves, children being in and out of several schools throughout their elementary school life, let alone K through 12. She's talking about some of the unique emotional challenges. Parents come home with things like PTSD and that being transmitted to children. And then just the stress of parenting in this environment.
And they're already off to a fast start, launching programs for extracurricular activities, tutoring, and mental health options both on and off post. Yarvis says he thinks the programs could make a huge impact, especially in the Fort Hood area.
One, this is a booming area where some of those resources on the civilian side are spread thin as people enter the metropolitan area, the Central Texas growing area. Then you have the fact that we've been at war for 20 years. And so we've learned a lot in that 20 years about the needs of our children.
And the Deputy Director of Joining Forces from the Obama administration is coming back to be Executive Director this time around. Well, your TV, it might be too smart for your own good.
Just a guess here, but I'll bet you're watching this.
How to protect your privacy when we get back with Jamie Tucker. Well, chances are at least one of the TVs in your home is smart. Smart TVs have all sorts of features to make it easier for you to see your favorite channels. But Jamie Tucker explains that might not be a good thing if you're worried about your privacy.
This new survey shows about 86 million homes in America have at least one smart television. Now, these are great because we can do just about everything on the largest screen in the house. But they're also good for cyber bad guys who will try to exploit them.
Now, some smart TVs have cameras that use facial recognition to determine who's watching. Some have microphones. Now, if that isn't creepy enough, the FBI warns many smart televisions are unsecured, making them vulnerable to hackers. Determine if your TV has a microphone and camera. The cameras are typically in the frame. If there's a microphone, it'll be a small hole next to the camera. You may be able to switch them off in settings, but I still suggest putting a piece of tape over the camera. If you see your smart television has an update available, install it. Most updates have security fixes. Check your Wi-Fi router. Your smart TV is connected to it along with everything else in your home. Update the router if you haven't done it in a while, and make sure the Wi-Fi password is not the default password it came with. Smart TVs are cheap now because manufacturers earn lots of revenue by selling your data to advertisers.
Now, I wouldn't say it's smart to unplug a smart TV from the internet. It would lose all the functionality you bought it for. But I will say it's good to go into general settings on your television and just check to see what information you've given it permission to collect. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Our TVs are spying on us. A Consumer Report study discovered some smart TVs allowed hackers to adjust the volume and even change the channel without the owner's permission. So a lot of manufacturers have removed those cameras and microphones from models they sell. Riley, if they're changing my channel, those hackers have got to be really bored.
They are always watching, though. They're just always keeping an eye on you, making sure you're always doing the right thing. Now, for the weekend, we are expecting a higher storm chance again Saturday. Sunday not looking like a huge issue for us. Well, another look at that 7-day forecast next.
Your side, wherever you go.
All right, let's take a look at your community calendar. Coming up tomorrow, a fundraiser for the Aiken Equine Rescue that suffered a fire last weekend. They'll have a yard sale, cookout, and even an auction. The yard sale starts at 8, the food is at 3, and the auction is at 6:30. It's all out on Pine Log Road in Wrdw. Should be a great time out there. Just watch out for the chance for some storms right around auction time. Now, here's a current look at Doppler Max Radar. We are tracking this tiny little downpour over the Savannah River site. This is just about 20 miles south and east of downtown Augusta. So we're doing a good job at dodging the rain here in Augusta so far. But as we progress through this evening, can't rule out getting hit by an isolated shower or storm. Now, for your Saturday, those storm chances currently highest mainly after mid-afternoon into Saturday evening. Sunday looks like we should stay mostly dry.
Zana Halliburton joins me here on the set as the news continues. We're back with more local news, weather, and Masters coverage after a quick break.
Ashley Home Store.